Hey there, Steve Kelly here from Tri-Spark. Today I'm excited to introduce to you one of our customers, Robert Ziolek, with his stunning World War II vintage BMW sidecar outfit. Robert and his mechanic have been working tirelessly on this bike for many years to bring it up from what was an underpowered and somewhat unreliable machine to this robust beauty that can now tour long distances. So Robert, tell us how you got started with this great hobby and where you plan to go with it next.
We got the bike, which was a replica of BMW, but wasn't really going very well. So we rebuilt the engine and we done some work on that, but still, you know, for 21 horsepower or maybe 19 horsepower, I was a little bit worried taking bigger trips. So we come up with a concept to replace the engine with a modern BMW engine, which was supplying about 70 horsepower. So we find that R100 it will fit exactly into the frame by millimeters, and that would certainly have enough power, around 70 horsepower, to pull anything, the bike with a sidecar with a couple more passengers and extra luggage. Having an old engine going uphill will be 10 km an hour on the first gear.
Yeah.
Now it could be on the fifth gear, just flying. The whole drivetrain is by BMW. Drive shaft has to be designed and manufactured because it's a different length. Lucky I've been surrounded by friends that have pretty good idea what to do with something like that. Having a brother which is a mechanical engineer and designer was very helpful because he helped me to design. He designed drive shaft and housing for the diff and everything else, and has to be custom made. I believe this is only one in the world.
Is that right?
I've never seen anything like it. There's a lot of time spent on that, and each time I wait for a part, it was exciting time. And once we painted in the right color, that from the World War II era, this whole project come together very well. I mean, and I have my Visa card to prove it, that I spend a lot of money on this. But look, to be honest with you, with restoration or any work like that once you pass the 50% mark, that you can't go backwards. You just have to go forward, and I absolutely love that bike. And it's yes. And look, I do understand people now that when they have a classic car or motorbike is a totally different feel. I mean, you do feel exactly when you start the engine, you could feel it, you're in tune with the bike. Yeah. It's not so much like a modern. I mean, you need to have a modern, but I do like both, particularly old machines that have a soul. I'm planning to take the bike on a longer trips, 1,000 kilometers. We're starting a trip to Yacht Peninsula very soon. That's 250 kilometers each way, just to see how bike handled, but also how I handle, sitting on the old-fashioned seats, hold to my bars for my dear life. But we're looking for a bike that is basically brand new, with the modern cones that will allow us to go to destination, but most important, to come back as well. We finished with the bike. Naturally, the gearbox and an engine and a diff and a shaft that has been designed and manufactured to handle that power. And then we got stuck that the bike always needs adjustment, and being not even a mechanic, I can ride this every day and just feel that it's, with 70 horsepower, something is not quite right. I just need some adjustment. And by, find through professional people, they handle mechanical stuff. We find about you, and since then, my life has changed forever. Steve?
When I spoke to your mechanic, he said that this particular engine has double plugged cylinder heads. That's an aftermarket conversion that's been done at some stage to improve the combustion and improve the efficiency of the motor. The key thing with this setup is getting the right ignition coils, because you need 2 double output ignition coils to power the 4 spark plugs. So I went checking and I found the best option for us was the Dynatech style 1.5 ohm coils. They give a really big spark, and the power consumption at cruising speed is only about 1 amp, so everything's running cool and it's reliable on the road. One of the things that we needed to do was convert the ignition can from the original Bosch sensor to the Tri-Spark sensor. And that's a great way to convert that part over without a lot of expense, because we're using the original can and just changing over the sensor. Josh was able to do that very easily. He said that all the parts fit right into the can without any problems. What we found was there's the perfect spot for the control box up underneath the fuel tank, and then we started looking for places to put the ignition coils. Now, this bike didn't originally have ignition coils, so it's a little bit of a challenge to find a spot to hide 2 ignition coils where there was no mounting spots. So we put them in the little toolboxes on the side of the engine and ran the 4 spark plug leads to the spark plugs up along the frame, and everything's tucked in nicely that way. You don't see any of the ignition parts. And that's the thing we always recommend with installations, is that people do use a professional installer, because they know how to do these things, and it just happens so easily when a mechanic does it.
Well, I guess for me it was important is that because by the end of the day, if I'm riding a bike and I can see the improvement, and not just today but every day, then I can say money well spent. Once the system was fitted, and Josh was the person that is fitted, and he says, Robert, I want you to go for a ride. I went for a ride myself. Now I want you to tell me and give me feedback. I mean, it was instant. I felt that 20% more power, the very accurate ignition, and everything is just come together very well. So then I said, well, okay, what about next day? I'll give you a ring in 1 week, and I'll tell you exactly how I feel. Well, I'll keep riding, and it's exactly what I expected. Everything is working very well. I am convinced, use the right product and the right people to fit in, you have a very good chance of a brilliant result.
Well, thank you, Robert, for coming along today and sharing your story with us. And if any of our viewers think they could benefit from the Tri-Spark conversion, please give me a call or visit our website to learn more about the compass ignition for BMW.
And thank you, Steve, because without you, I'd be still in the garage underneath of the bike, hoping for the best. I use the bike to pick up women. And I have my Visa card to prove it, that I spend a lot of money on this. Don't tell my wife exactly what I do with the money. And I stopped drinking, I stopped smoking 25 years ago. I believe that I deserve that.